Okay guys, so in this video we are going to talk about how to find the area of a rectangle. Now remember that in our last video we talked a little bit about formulas to find areas and how a lot of people talk about length times width, but we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to think about it as base times height, okay? So when we talk about base times height, we need to remember that height doesn't always mean our vertical line or kind of like how tall something is, and base doesn't always have to mean the bottom. Our base can be right here, it could be here, it could be here, or it could be here. It can be any of the sides that we want it to be, okay? And then height is always going to be whatever line is going to be perpendicular to that. So if this is our base, this would be our height. If this was our base, this could be our height, and so on and so forth. But to make things easy, we're going to make this our base, and we're going to make this our height. Now, if we wanted to find the area of this rectangle, we want to find how much space is inside this rectangle, we can go out a number of ways. First, we could go and we could count all the individual boxes. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We could find out that way that the area is going to be 8 units squared. Okay? So we could do it by counting. But not all of our rectangles are going to be super small like this one. We might have a rectangle that is 100 square units, or we could have a rectangle that's 1,000 square units, and we don't want to have to count it for every time that we do that. So in that case, we need to find a formula or a way that we can figure out how to easily and quickly figure out how much space is inside this rectangle. So first off, we're going to count and we're going to see how many or how long our base is. So we're going to count. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that our base is 4 units. Okay, now I want us to think for a second, if we were to take this rectangle and we were to fold it in half along this line right here, and we were to fold it kind of hamburger style, or I'm sorry, I guess that would be hot dog style, what would happen? Well, we wouldn't have any space left over. All these corners would line up with each other. It would make kind of a mirror image of itself, and there would be no space left over. So we know that we have a base of 4 units, so this top must also be 4 units long. And in that case, since there's only 2, since our height is only 2, we've only got 2 different rows here, we could say, well, if we add the bottom base of 4, and we add that to the top 4, we're going to get 8 units. And that'll account for all of the spots in here, all the space. So we can get that 8 units, we found our area. Okay? But another way to do this we can look at is saying, well, what if we take our base times our height? If we take our base, which is 4 units, and we multiply it by this height right here, which is 1, 2, multiply that by 2, we're still going to get our 8 units. Okay? And that's because 4 plus 4 is the same as 4 times 2. We're just doubling 4. And so that's going to give us our 8 units. Well, what if, let's say, we had another row here. We could look at this and we could count all the boxes and find out that it's 12 units. Or we can say, well, we've got a base of 4. We're going to multiply that by our height, which is now 3. We can say, oh, look, 4 times 3, 12 units. How many units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we could go 4 plus 4 plus 4, 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's also going to equal 12. 12 units. So you can see that our formula that we're always going to fall back to is going to be area equals base times height.